When you walk through the storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and a sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with faith in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You never walk alone. Walk on with faith in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You never walk alone. Hello and good morning, all those who love and support Liverpool Football Club. This is your day for the Kopite Church. And isn't it a great day today? Not only because the sun is shining, but it's only just over 2 weeks till the restart. And about a few more days after that, for those of you who are really excited by this, the restart of the FA Cup as well. So this is a great day. Not long now, folks. Not much longer of the Bundesliga alone, but back to the glories of Liverpool. Because he lives, we can face tomorrow, even at this time, the coronavirus. God sent his son. They called him Jesus. He came to love, heal and forgive. He lived and died to buy my pardon. An empty grave is there to prove my Savior lives. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Because I know he holds a future. And life is worth the living just because he lives. How sweet to hold a newborn baby and feel the pride and joy he gives. But greater still, the calm assurance his child can face uncertain days because he lives. And then one day I'll cross the river, I'll fight life's final war with pain. And then as death gives way And here he is.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay, when we knew that we were going to win the league, we used to simply say on Sing, we're going to win the league. And that's the title of the Kopite Church today.
Yeah.
Now, how do we know we're going to win the league? Well, you might say, hello, everyone. David Griffiths, Lindsay Griffiths.
Hello again.
You knew. And in the old days, in the 60s, and it had to be sung only when we knew we'd won something. So there was a rule. It was all these cultures and rules going on the Spy and Cop going back to those days. Whether it is today, I don't know. But it was in those days, 60s and 70s. When we knew we were going to win something, we were allowed to sing EI Adio, we're going to win the league, or the cup, or whatever it may be. And EI Adio only had to be sung at a certain time with about 10 minutes to go or 15 minutes to go. It was clear there was no way back for anybody. And this was known. Now, this year, we're 25 points clear. And there is just a few games left, 10 games, I think. Liverpool needing 2 to win, 1 to win if Arsenal beat Man City. So we'll all be mad Arsenal supporters when the first game restarts.
Wow.
And we then started to sing, and now you're going to believe us, we're going to win the league. And it's as if to say to the opposition, there's a belief here. And today we're going to study why there is that belief. Lindsay, thank you very much. I was watching LFC TV with Lindsay during the week, and it was the story of the Paisley statue, which you can see on your screen just now, with Emlyn Hughes on the back of Bob Paisley. Bob Paisley was a servant. He had a servant's heart. He wasn't the big-name football manager with the huge car and all the trappings of wealth. He was a flat-capped guy from Hetton-le-Hole in County Durham, from a mining family. He never forgot his roots. In Hetton-le-Hole today, there is a monument in memory of Bob Paisley with 3 European Cups on it in Hetton-le-Hole. You know, there's some of the best paid, most well-known managers in the world have come nowhere near getting 3 European Cups. Well, Bob Paisley certainly foiled a lot of them, but he never forgot his humble background, his humble beginnings. There was one match on the 7th of September 1978, the beginning of the 78-79 season, a Bob Paisley match. 2 big-name footballers were coming to Anfield. They had just won the World Cup, Ricky Villa and Osvaldo Ardiles. They were perhaps at that time the most sought after, most expensive footballers in the world. They had just won the World Cup. I have here the program. They were about to face the Spy and Cop, in itself with a history, as we've been discovering from the tragedies of the Boer War, where many Scousers were shot to the death in the, some would say, sad, impassioned desire to expand the British Empire at the price of others. But such an empire had its cannon fodder, many of whom were Scousers, also people from Lancashire. And they were there on the front line and were ambushed at the Battle of Spy and Cop. The flagpole on the Spion Cup to this day was from a ship which transported the troops from Liverpool to South Africa. And so when you deal with Liverpool, you're dealing with a heritage. You're dealing with the landmark. You're dealing with a club that has had its valleys and its mountain tops. But for this club, there have been many who have suffered. Bob Paisley, as you can see depicted on the statue before you on this very picture, was a man who had very hard, difficult beginnings in County Durham. Miners in those days did not enjoy the health and safety regulations of today. It was a tough life. Likewise, it was a tough life for poor people in South Africa who were manipulated by those with a quest for profits who gave little for those who gave them those profits, namely the Boers and the Zulus. You see, Liverpool Football Club has always been a club which has fought injustice. The death of the 96 and the consequences of that terrible day at Hillsborough, Sheffield, where masonry hid the establishment from justice for so long. But what is a seemingly infallible force was defeated by those of the Kopites. There's so much for the church to learn from the Spion Cup. Its heritage. Its never forgotten heritage. The humility, not only around its managers, but around its players that goes on to this day with Jurgen Klopp and Jordan Henderson, who, like Bob Paisley, come from the northeast of England. See, the northeast of England's got a lot to be proud of in relation to Liverpool Football Club. Both are suppressed people. But out of those suppressed people have come the real heroes of today. Not the flashy footballers with their big cars and keeping themselves some ordinary people. That's not the way Liverpool Football Club has ever worked. Bill Shankly saw to that. Bob Paisley after him. Joe Fagan after him. This is a unique football club. It is passion. It's love. It's care for ordinary people. Yet it's been 30 years since we won the league. No one would believe that could possibly have happened. This program is an amazing program. 1978-79. Cost all of 20p to buy. 2nd of September 1978. And the heading goes on the second page. Spurs' costly captures from South America will be crowd pullers here. Indeed they were. Ricky Villa and Oswaldo Ardiles were probably known at that time to be the best footballers in the world. They had just lifted the World Cup. Yet they had to face something which in that experience or in their experience before they could possibly never contemplate. A visit to Anfield. Those days, Bob Paisley was manager. We just said farewell to Tommy Smith, who was at the end of his career. was joining fellow teammate John Toshak at Swansea to finish his career. And, you know, looking through this, we see that Tottenham Hotspur at that time was a team of megastars. Guess who else was playing? Don't know whether he would want us to remind him of this day, but it was Glenn Hoddle. He was playing number 4. Steve Perriman, number 6, well-known players. And Ricardo Villa, number 7. Oswaldo Ardiles, number 8. Jerry Armstrong, number 9. Famous players, expensive players. The richness of London was coming to face Ray Clements, Phil Neal, Alan Kennedy, who we call Barney Rubble, friend of Fred Flintstone, because he looked like him. Phil Thompson of Kirby. World Cup winners facing lads from Kirby. Ray Kennedy. And Emlyn Hughes, who you see being carried off by Bob Paisley on the statue. Yozza Hughes. Emlyn Hughes. We used to sing, "Come on without, come on within. You not see nothing like the mighty Emlyn." And facing the Kop, these famous footballers from South America. Megastars, superstars. And a lad from Glasgow, Kenny Dalglish, number 7. Number 8, Jimmy Case, had a huge right foot. He blast the ball into the back of the net. Steve Highway, graduate. Terry McDermott, also from Kirby. So the pride of South America was facing the pride of Kirby. And who else did he have to face but Graham Souness at number 11? What a day this was going to be. The summer was over. The World Cup was won. The South Americans seen as the greatest footballers in the world. I was there that day. The atmosphere was electric. These South American big star footballers were going to get it like no one before. So the match began. The atmosphere was like you can't even think about. The World Cup winners were in for a thrashing that day. I think the score not being 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, but even 7-0. It was the thrashing of their lives for the World Cup winners. Why was this? They were facing something which in normal terms they wouldn't normally face. They were facing an atmosphere that upheld the landmark of the past. And you know, the Bible talks of landmarks. In Job 24, Job being a man who had a really hard time, who really suffered at the hand of the devil. In other words, you can call the devil the world establishment because the Bible relates him as being the God of this world. It is he who was behind the cover-up of Hillsborough. It is he we have to expose. The Bible saying, our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. And the devil was given permission by God to see if Job would back down. In effect, at every Liverpool game, we sing a Job song. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. Don't be afraid of the dark. Well, who depicts the dark but the devil? The end of the storm, there's a golden sky, the sweet silver song of the lark. Job had his valley experience, just as in the context of the Premier League, Liverpool supporters all over the world have had their Job experiencing in waiting for a Premier League for 30 years. And that moment is almost here. Yet we're not allowed to go to the ground and celebrate. Not allowed to go in one of the many pubs around Anfield and celebrate. But there's something different about Liverpool Football Club. The atmosphere in the ground will still be there. Why? Because of the upholding of the landmarks of the past. It's why the Bible warns against removing our neighbor's landmark. In Job 24 we read, why seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? The truth of Hillsborough may have been hidden from authorities through the Masonic order, but it was not hidden from the Almighty. And those who stood their ground saw justice in the end, although one court case at the end was a clear cover-up from the establishment. But Liverpool supporters have never been of the establishment. They've always been those who have taken on the establishment and won. Such needs to be the church. Hence we have the Kopite Church today. Doesn't matter how hard the storm begins. It doesn't matter how many goals we may be behind. There is a cry of no surrender. There is a cry of determination. The Bible tells us in Job 24 verse 2 that some remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed thereof. And there have been those in the past who have looked to violently take away our trophies by setting up Liverpool supporters, as the establishment tried to do at Heysel. I remember showing to Lindsay a video of that game, saying that this is a setup. You know, the Bible talks about setups, that those who try and remove our landmarks. But I'm telling you this, that those of us who are Liverpool supporters second and Jesus observers first, we have a determination in us that the establishment will never defeat us.
That's right.
Because the Bible declares, greater is he who is in us than he that is in the world. And Bob Paisley began with these humble beginnings, having to overcome, like so many miners in County Durham, great oppression. Bill Shankly likewise came from a mining community in Ayrshire, in which employers cared little about the health and welfare of miners who'd risked their lives for the whole of the community. Likewise in South Africa, they cared little of those who would go so many feet on the ground to get gold and risk their lives so as they could continue a meager living, whilst those who were sitting on the ground drinking their champagne could live in luxury. Such as it was with the Welsh miners, quarriers in North Wales. I'm telling you, injustice has come against our club and its supporters and our heritage, but injustice has never succeeded. What we notice about Jurgen Klopp is his passion for the supporters. Those of you on YouTube can go to a bowls match where he goes and takes on a local team where he lives. And the delight of Jurgen playing bowls, which I think is unusual for a German, of coming to play with ordinary people. Not him to live above everybody else, but him to go and the way he speaks to youngsters that come and see him shows the kind of man he is. And what a great team we have, continuing the landmark of the past. That day, the greatest footballers in the world got a beating which they never expected. The World Cup seemed a long way away on 2nd of September 1978. The flags were risen again on the Spying Cup. This great team of Paisley won great honours. But those honours were given to the people. The Bible warns of those who would look to steal this landmark. It says, they drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert, go they forth to their work, rising betimes for the prey. The wilderness yieldeth food for them and for their children. In other words, those who look to abuse the poor for the benefits of the rich are those who look to remove the landmarks so as to establish a new world order of globalism which suppresses the individual, which suppresses the ordinary person and places them not in a true form of socialism, but in a Marxist order where ordinary people are placed under the controls of a hierarchy, such as the devil's system. Let me tell you this, that day, big name footballers came to Anfield and met their match. Anfield is a place of ordinary people. And yes, the culture's changed. No more do we stand on the Kop and even get weed on by those coming out the Albert at 10 to 3 and with nowhere else to go. We are supporters of a team of ordinary people who do extraordinary things. We used to call Tommy Smith, you can see him there in the program with the European Cup. We used to wear red gloves and shout red power Tommy Smith. Tommy Smith, who went into a previous Tottenham Hotspur dressing room where their star player Jimmy Greaves was waiting to play. He left a note for him with the dinner menu at Walton Hospital, the nearest hospital to the ground. Shankly used to go and wait for the opposing team's coach of star players. And he used to watch them coming off that coach. The little man from Auchinleck in Ayrshire used to terrify the living daylights out of star players by simply watching them come off. And then he gave his team talk. He once gave a team talk to a very young Kevin Keegan. The man to defend him, the man there to stop him scoring and playing his game was another World Cup winner, Bobby Moore. They were playing West Ham that day. Shankly went into the dressing room and said to Kevin Keegan, "Son, he's past us. He's walking like a cripple. You'll run rings round him this afternoon." So Kevin Keegan, this bright young lad at that time, goes out and does just that. And Liverpool won that game, I think, 2-0, with Kevin Keegan playing a major part. Then Shankly went into the dressing room at the end of the match saying, "Son, you've just run rings round the greatest player in the world." You see, humor has been so much a part of this as well. The Bible tells us of laughter being as a medicine. One thing about Scousers, whatever the circumstances, they make a joke about it, which gives a defeat to the devil who looks to make us miserable. You see, the religious think, "Oh, he told him a lie." Now, it was a joke. Psychology. I'm telling you something. We have a God who cares for us, who gave his Son Jesus Christ, and whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And I'm telling you this, he is the only way to the Father. That those of us who give our lives to him will have our lives changed forever. I'm not talking about some religious order and the hypocrites you see in so many churches. I'm talking about a genuine care and love. The statue depicts Bob Paisley giving a lift to an injured Emlyn Hughes. He would humble himself. So Christ humbled himself to the cross so as to save us from hell. Whereas Bob Paisley was saving Emlyn from pain, from having to walk on his leg or walk on his knee. So Christ went to the cross to save us from hell so we can live forever to be with him. And you know something about equality? He calls us joint heirs with him in Romans chapter 8. And so I invite you today to give your life to him, to accept him as your Lord and Savior. You will enjoy a haven of rest which is so great, so powerful. Our cares being placed upon him, and so many of you in Liverpool have suffered with coronavirus. There being a big spike after the Atletico Madrid game. I pray for you to be healed today in Jesus' mighty name. As Lindsay comes to sing, "My soul in sad exile was out on life's sea, so burdened with sin and distress, till I heard a sweet voice saying, 'Make me your choice.' I entered the haven of rest." This haven can be yours today if you give your life to Jesus at the cross and repent of your sin and move on in resurrection power. Lindsay, come and sing
Thank
to
you,
us.
David. It's a great program. You know, I know David's heart is totally in this, you know, and Liverpool Football Club and the dear people of Liverpool have been such an example. It's only one small step into eternity, that is to take Jesus as your Lord and Savior and come to him, as David said. Because Jesus said, "Come to me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And this song is about just that, about Jesus, the haven of rest. So just accept him. My soul in sad exile was out on life's sea, so burdened with sin and distressed, till I heard a sweet voice saying, make me your choice. And I entered the haven of rest. I've anchored my soul in the haven of rest. I'll sail the wide seas no more. The tempest may sweep o'er the wild stormy deep, but in Jesus I'm safe evermore. I yielded myself to his tender embrace, and faith taking hold of the word, my fetters fell off, and I anchored my soul. The haven of rest is my Lord. I've anchored my soul in the haven of rest. I'll sail the wide sea no more. The tempest may sweep o'er the wild stormy deep, but in Jesus I'm safe evermore. I've anchored my soul in the haven of rest. I'll sail the wide sea no more. The tempest may sweep o'er the wild stormy deep, but in Jesus I'm safe evermore. In Jesus I'm safe evermore, evermore. Bye, everybody. Till next week. Keep safe.